Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. It has been a minute, and if you watched a live from me earlier today, that would be July 9th, no, you're not seeing double. I recorded a long, fun favorites video for you guys today, and it was quite long in length, and I have not been able to upload it. I had a problem like that before, and I had to completely redo the video. So I am here again, no, you're not seeing double, to re-film this favorites video. So if you've already seen it, you might want to come back and check the other one, or still hang out because I might share some new stuff that I didn't share last time. But I'm just going ahead and redoing the video so that I can post it for all of you. I did not talk about going live today, so if you're watching this live video, please come on and say hello in the comments, give the video a thumbs up. And if you are watching the replay, thank you so much for supporting my channel. It has been a minute. The last time that I posted a video was in February before the pandemic. And needless to say, all of our lives all across the globe have been turned upside down. And so I took a break from all social media. I took a break from filming all the things. And now that we are still in the throes of this, at least if you're in America, I am in a part of America where unfortunately the cases are surging. And so if you're watching this from overseas or wherever you're watching this from, I hope you are safe and well. And I am sending you love and good vibes and all the things. So just wanted to share some favorites with you. This is about 4 to 5 months worth of favorites. So buckle up. It'll be a fun ride. I'm gonna actually, if you saw the previous video, there's a couple things I'm probably not gonna talk about. I may have some new things from the last video. I don't know, it's fun, but definitely wanna make sure that I can share this with you guys. And if you're watching the replay again, please let me know in the comments what your favorite things are. Let me know how you're doing. I love this community. I'm so grateful for this community. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started so I don't keep chatting with you and run on my mouth, and let's just get to what we're here for, right? Okay, so last time I did this favorites video, I started with a particular person that I'm enjoying on social media who is an artist, and I want to celebrate her work, and I'm going to continue to do that. I love and adore the artist Harper Nichols. I have actually followed her for a couple of years on Instagram. She is a well-known artist there. She makes beautiful art, fantastic content and original writing that she shares with her art on Instagram. So I'll put all the links to all her things down below. Like I said, I followed her work for a couple of years, but this year I've just really been spending a lot of time on her work, and in particular during this pandemic, because she writes a lot of really beautiful, inspiring, encouraging words. And I've seen a lot of other people really grow to love her work during this time because her work is very inspiring, so uplifting. And so my first favorite, when I filmed this a couple hours ago, was indeed full of coffee. Now it is not, but I found this gorgeous mug with the artwork and the original writing of Harper Nichols at the website Fringe Studio, which is a paper stationery website that I love. I love Fringe notebooks and I use them a lot. And I've become a huge journaler in quarantine. I was always a writer, always a journaler, but just as a method of self-care, I have been journaling more through this time of sheltering in place and quarantine and isolation and all those things more than normal. And so I was on the Fringe Studio website looking for a good journal to buy, and I discovered that Harper Nichols was doing a collaboration with Fringe, and so this is part of that collaboration. Look at this gorgeous mug, guys. So I actually found this graphic and this writing on Morgan's Instagram, I want to say like over a year and a half ago, and it really spoke to me. I think I posted it on my page. And when I saw that this quote that I love so much was in mug form, I had to pick it up. So it says, "This is the season she will make beautiful things, not perfect things, but honest things that speak to who she is and who she is called to be." Isn't that gorgeous? I love it. I'm going to put the link down below so you can find this. I thought it was a good price for a mug. It's very well made, very sturdy. I have put it in the microwave. It's dishwasher safe. I love it. It's one of my favorite mugs. It's one of my favorite things, and it's one of my favorite artists. So while I'm showing you her work, I will link her YouTube channel. She shares a lot of her Insta stories on her YouTube channel. I will link that below, and then I will also link her Instagram. I will just put her website, which I think has links to all of her things. But the other thing, let's see if it's right here. was from Fringe Studio of hers. Along with that mug collaboration is this gorgeous journal. There's a couple different journals. I wanted to order them all, but this is the one I picked up. And I was actually saying in the previous video that I can't look at this beautiful notebook without thinking of one of my dear friends who right now is walking through the symptoms of long-term COVID. She has had symptoms for about 3 months, and my heart is with her, and I pray for her every day. And every time I pick this up, I think of her, so I'm probably gonna send one to her. This is a notebook, and as you can see there, it says, "Inhale, exhale, it is well, it is well." I just think that is so beautiful. I love the color pattern. You can see it kind of is in the same vibe and color family. And I love this. It's beautiful. Fringe notebooks are wonderful. They have really nice paper quality. Usually stuff doesn't bleed through on the paper. I love line journals, and I love this one for those reasons. And I think there's a pocket in the back of this one. Yeah, there's a pocket here. Really, really well priced, lovely to put in a bag. And so I had to pick that up. So that's part of Morgan's collaboration on Fringe Studio. One of my favorite things. I haven't written in this one yet, but I can't wait to, and this would make a great gift. Especially in light of all the craziness that's happening these days. This is another journal I picked up on Fringe Studio. This is not Morgan's, but since we're talking about Fringe products, this is a little spiral notebook. Again, it's a little thinner, and this is like not a very thick cover. It's kind of thin, but one of my favorite things about the Fringe notebooks are the lines and the paper quality. I just think the paper is really nice. It doesn't bleed through. I can even use some of my fountain pens and my fancy pens on Fringe stuff, and I just know that it's gonna be really good and not bleed into the other pages. And isn't this great, guys? Is this not what we need right now? We're all connected. It's got little hands holding each other. And I saw this and I said, this is perfect for the pandemic right now. This would make a great gift for somebody that you love. Very well priced, very affordable. So I love Fringe Studio products. I had shared actually in the previous video, I'm sorry I don't have a link for this, but the reason I originally went to the Fringe Studio website is I love these Fringe Studio notebooks. I have had a hard time finding them. They have this little insignia. I bought this a couple of years ago at Staples, and they've carried Fringe notebooks at Staples and Office Depot. Now that I'm not shopping in person as much, I haven't been able to find these on Staples or Office Depot. So if you see them in store, if you're out shopping, if you find any of these on Amazon, grab them. I stocked up on a bunch of them at Marshall's and Home Goods and TJ Maxx last year, and I'm really glad I did because I have a lot of really good notebooks. But these are wonderful spirals. Again, you've got that incredible paper quality. If you're a stationery nerd like me, I love lined books. So this is actually my second journal in the pandemic. I have been writing a lot more and filling these up. So this was the inspiration to go pick up these journals. So big fan of their products. I will put the link down below, of course, because I love the collaboration with Morgan. And the other thing, if you haven't heard of her book, this book is incredible. All Along You Were Blooming, Thoughts for Boundless Living. This is a collection of Morgan's beautiful art with her poems and her prose. So if you're a fan of her Instagram, you're gonna love this. I actually have just started this. I haven't finished it. I did buy it during quarantine, but it's one of those books you can kind of dip in and out of. And if you need something inspiring, something uplifting, something to relax or soothe you, if you've been stressed out during this time, I think this is fantastic. And I love Morgan's work. And hello, Morgan, if you're watching. She has a lot of followers, so I don't expect her to see this video. But on the off chance you do, Morgan, I love your work. You really influence me. So just wanted to share her and shout out one of my favorite artists right now, especially in a time of COVID where and also I as myself being an actor am out of work right now. And so I just wanted to lift up an artist and her work that I really, really love. So that is my first big category of favorites. So let's see, I'm gonna share a couple of essential oil favorites, and then I've got some books and things like that too. So I am gonna start with kind of my ride or die essential oils that I've loved during this time. And a lot of these, you know, they're not gonna be rocket science. It's a lot of my same tried and true favorites. But I bet we're all reaching for certain things. And I love this bag in particular. This is from Young Living. It was a gift. Unfortunately, I can't give you a link for it, but it says Inhale, Exhale, which how perfect is that right now? It was a gift, I think, with Essential Rewards a couple months ago, and I have been using this to keep the oils in that I use every day. So I've got a handful of my staples in here to share. So I've got a couple of rollers that I love. I also use Deep Relief that's not in this grouping right here. It's in the other room, but that's, of course, a no-brainer. But I'm really a fan of Valor. And pre-pandemic, I really didn't reach for this that much. I love the scent of it, but I have been going through so much of this for obvious reasons. I also have a lot of tension in my neck and my jaw, so I like to roll this along my jawline and the back of my neck before I go to bed. I also love to diffuse Valor with frankincense. I have one of the 15 mils we had as a promo, and since I'm sharing Valor, another one I love is frankincense. I've gravitated to this a lot. I like to apply this one and diffuse this one. So huge fan. I mean, the ones I'm sharing you guys all know about, but we all have to use our staples to get us through, right? And I also have to say, and I forgot to say in the other video, essential oils have been a real form of self-care for me, especially during the pandemic. I don't know about you guys. I've always loved them, and I use a lot of products with essential oils, but in particular, as we all know, I can't really talk about the awful thing that must not be named out in our world right now, but knowing that I have a really good sense of smell and knowing that the scent of the oils is strong and feels very relaxing and soothing to me has been a huge part of my self-care during the pandemic. So I'm sure you guys feel the same way. So because of that, that's another reason that I have found myself just gravitating to not only using my staples, but finding other oils that maybe were in the back, section of my storage area. And actually, I'll share a couple in here that I hadn't really used before, and they became major favorites during the first part of this quarantine. So next one, of course, my ride or die. Y'all know I love me some Peace and Calming. I roll this on every night before bed. I put it on during the day. I diffuse it. I mean, come on. It's Peace and Calming. For me, I can never have too much of this. Love Peace and Calming. And then I have to say, Stress Away is wonderful for obvious reasons during this time, but I have to say that this is not one I gravitated to pre-pandemic. This is not one that I picked up a lot. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's vacation in a bottle, it smells incredible, and it does smell very good, but I just usually would gravitate to other oils. And so I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, look at the name of it, but I have really been gravitating to this a lot. In fact, I've ordered a couple of 15 ml bottles of this so that I can diffuse it and refill this 10 ml. And I'm like down to here. I have had this by my bed in one of those little wooden blocks that we got as a promotional item last year, where it holds 3 oils, and it will either hold a 5 ml or a roller ball. And so what I've usually done, I took these I should have brought the block to show you, but I don't think you can purchase it right now. Actually, I take that back. I think it might be for sale on the website, but I put these 3 right by my bed and I use them every night. And then even in the morning, these are ones that I think I can use to help unwind, but they're also really rejuvenating in the morning. So I'll roll this one on a lot, diffuse this one. And yeah, what can I say? Normally I don't love the lime and vanilla kind of hint of scent, but I'm really gravitating to it and loving it. So there's the frankincense. Okay. No brainer. I started my video that has now been erased with this oil, but do we really even need to say anymore? I mean, I should have started with it. RC, respiratory care, tons of respiratory support, has all sorts of eucalyptus in it, cypress, myrtle, lavender. This is a very comforting oil for me, and this is something that I use regularly every single day, like even before we went into crazy quarantine life. So once we went into this extended period of time, this has just been real comforting. I diffuse it morning and night. I like to apply it on my chest. It's very soothing. I've gone through a couple 15 mils. In fact, I've got another one on my ER order to get my supply bumped back up. And then what else do I have in here? Oh yes, these 2 oils, I have not used a lot. I used one of these a lot pre-quarantine, but these have become another staple as part of my everyday protocol. The Joy blend and the Harmony blend. Both of these have tons of oil in them. I like to joke that both of these have everything but the kitchen sink in them. I'll start with Joy. Again, another oil I didn't pick up a lot pre-quarantine. I love the scent of it. It's very floral to me. I think it smells sweet in a really good way. Sometimes people hear that term and it feels off-putting to them, but it's not like a sickeningly sweet. It just smells like, I feel like when this bottle opens up, it smells like you just walked into the most fragrant floral garden in England that you can imagine. That's what I picture in my mind when I smell this. Lots of beautiful oils in this. I rub this on my heart in the mornings, and I have found that it is a really, really helpful start to my day and part of my morning routine, and the smell is just very comforting. It's great in the diffuser, but I mostly just apply it. And so what I find in the morning, when I'm rolling on the Valor and I'm rolling on Stress Away, I also use a little bit of white Angelica, but I didn't include it in the video just because I don't reach for it as often. I also roll on Abundance every day. I have a bottle by my bed, but I actually made myself a roller ball with the top here, and I keep that in my office as well. But this is part of the protocol. I put Joy on rub it on my chest area, and then I use Harmony right around my belly button. And this is an oil that I have actually muscle tested before with my chiropractor who does muscle testing as something that would be supportive to me. This has so many oils in it. It's not cheap at all. I actually saved up my Essential Rewards points for this because it is not cheap. But I had bought the Feelings kit, as you can see the box back there, and went through the 5 ml and decided this would be a good investment. I actually got this on my free ER points right before we went into shelter in place. So I was really happy at the timing of it. So many good oils in here. I'm actually going to read off what's in here because there's a lot of really good things. You have lavender, ylang ylang, frankincense, orange, angelica, geranium, hyssop, Spanish sage, black spruce, coriander, bergamot, lemon, jasmine, Roman chamomile, palmarosa, and rose. So literally everything but the kitchen sink, like I was saying. I love this. It smells to me very floral, but a much more subtle, like kind of soothing version. It's not as amped up, if you will, to me, if I'm comparing them. They both smell like flower gardens, but this smells like a little more subtle version. Love, 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 love this. So gravitated a lot to the Joy and the Harmony blends. And then, okay, that's all my staples. So the other essential oil diffuser combo that I have been wild about, we probably all know about, started out for me with this little oil. In March, I can't tell you why, I don't know why, but when we started our quarantine life, I started craving this oil. I don't even know why I reached for it, quite frankly. I had a bottle of this that was a couple years old that I had bought and then just not used it. I'd heard it was really helpful and enriching to like adding to your cleaning supplies and things like that. So I picked it up and then I didn't use it. And quite frankly, when I smelled this before, it to me smells like lemon on steroids. It's a different plant. It's called the lemon myrtle plant. It's very, very, very pungent. And so when I first smelled this, I didn't like it. And it's funny saying that now because it is so comforting. But I started diffusing this guy like crazy in March. Don't know why, just gravitated to it. And I actually diffused it a lot with basil. And then I also gravitated to this little guy, to spearmint, which is another one that I would not have picked up hardly at all. I've gotten this as a promo a couple times and went, that's a lovely oil. I wonder when I'll use it. And for whatever reason, I put these two in a diffuser. It was like a powerhouse combo. I added spearmint to any diffuser combo that I had. You know, of course, if you smell spearmint, to me, it smells like a really sweet version of peppermint, and I love the scent. It makes me think of double mint gum. Anyone showing my age when I was a kid, and my mom would carry little packs around of double mint gum. That's what spearmint smells like to me. It's wonderful. But what's so funny is I started diffusing these together, loved them, and then right around that time, Young Living came out with the Luscious Lemon Scented Soap. And I actually forgot last time and I forgot this time. I have a little container of the soap and love that. And I loved it so much that I ordered 2 bottles of the large refill of it, just so that I would have a lot of soap on hand for obvious reasons these days, and really fell in love with the scent of it. Well, right before that came out, there was a person that is very high up in my Young Living team, way, way, way beyond me, I think one of the Royal Crown Diamonds, who was sharing some graphics of some diffuser combos. And she shared and said, if you want to create the smell of Luscious Lemon, because when it first came out, it went out of stock and it was gone, no one could get it. They said, here's how you create the scent of the lemon. And so I'm going to share this combo with you because I've seen it on social media a lot and really love it. And so I started using, it's got both of these oils in it. So I started adding everything together and diffusing it and just fell in love with it. And so that's why I then, as soon as it got back into stock, got the soap, love it. So I'm going to share that with you because that's been a huge favorite diffuser combo for me. So you have 3 drops of lemon myrtle to start. Then you do 2 drops of ylang ylang. This is another one that I love to diffuse right before bed or wear as a perfume. Love the scent of that. Then you've got 2 drops of eucalyptus radiata, my favorite eucalyptus. To me, it has a little bit of a sweet scent profile, and this is the same type of eucalyptus that is in the Thieves blend. So you're gonna add the 2 drops of that. Then you've got 2 drops of lemon, love that. Then your 2 drops of spearmint and 1 drop of cinnamon bark. So all of those oils together creates the most beautiful diffuser combo. And if it's not in your budget to purchase the Luscious Lemon soap or the big refill size, use that combo. You can put those oils in like an unscented Castile soap. You can add it to unscented body wash. I love diffusing it. And then I've got another hack here that I really love that was a favorite, but just again to tell you, 3 drops of lemon myrtle, 2 drops of ylang ylang, 2 drops of eucalyptus radiata, 2 drops of lemon, 2 drops of spearmint, and 1 drop cinnamon bark. Huge, huge, huge favorite. So that's the Luscious Lemon diffuser combo. And side note, I'm sharing this as a favorite because this is a cleanser, just the Thieves cleanser that I made up in one of the promo bottles I had from Young Living this last spring. And again, the suggestion from this team member was take all those oils for the Luscious Lemon that I just told you about and add it to 1 container of Thieves cleaner. So this is just, you know, you fill this up here and you can put 1 capful in, you'll have a whole thing of cleaner. I like to bump up the power of my cleaners because I'm just bougie and extra that way, especially during quarantine life. Hello, anyone know what I'm saying? And so I'll put like a couple capfuls of Thieves cleaner in here, but you still get an incredible value because you 2 little capfuls for all of this. So I did that, put the 2 capfuls in, and then I did all of these bad boys and the drops that I just told you. Oh my word, y'all. I told the people watching the other stream, this smells so magical. I mean, the smell of Thieves cleaner is already really lovely, but you get the Luscious Lemon scent. It just bumps it up a notch. And now I just don't know that I can make this stuff up without adding all those oils because it's really great. But this, I probably made this, I would say at least 3 weeks plus ago or more. And I'm cleaning way more than I normally do. And I've been running through it pretty slowly. I know I'm like under half, but like, I don't know how long actually. It might have been 4 weeks. It's been a while. This stuff lasts a while. And honestly, I'm running through cleaner more than I normally would. So I think you get a lot of bang for your buck. So wanted to share that. Love that. And then I have a couple more products. Let me share you some books first. Let me go back over to books and then I'll come back and finish with some products from Young Living. But those are all my favorite oils. I have done a lot of reading in my quarantine. I have to say that in addition to journaling, which has always been a favorite thing for me, and journaling has become really sacred part of my self-care, one of the other things that's been really, really important to me is reading. I'm already a book nerd. Y'all can see all the books I have. I love to read, but during quarantine, as I'm sure you guys all know, man, when you can escape the craziness of our lives right now in a book and you can travel to a far distant land or lose yourself in a story, that's so powerful right now. And so I thought in quarantine, since I have all this extra time and clearly no shortage of books, that I was just gonna fly through a million different titles. And I have found that because we are dealing and managing with a lot more stress in our lives, I have found that I didn't read as many books cover to cover. So the ones I read from start to finish were just fantastic and really drew me in immediately. I've had a lot of books I read a little bit of and then I just set it down. So I'm sharing books that I loved. There's one in here that I haven't finished, but I really am enjoying it. So I'm still sharing as a favorite. So, but the other ones in this I have read cover to cover. I adore them. Okay, my first one, you may have seen if you're watching the replay on a thumbnail for this video. Please let this upload. But I loved this book, y'all. So this is not the type of memoir I normally gravitate to. Again, we're seeing a lot of like surprise favorites here, but isn't it interesting the kinds of things that we're gravitating to in the midst of what we're going through right now? This is a memoir by astronaut Scott Kelly, and it's called Endurance, My Year in Space, A Lifetime of Discovery. This book is phenomenal. I got a really good deal on my Kindle. I think it was like $4.99 on my Kindle. I think the price has gone up on Kindle since I purchased it. But I'll put the link down below because the paperback I think is like 10 bucks. It's a good deal. And I actually wish that I had this on paperback now, because as you can see, I love to purchase books that I read, that I love, that I want to go back to and reference. And I might buy a paperback copy of this just so my husband can have it, because he is an aerospace guy and we both love, we're geeky out. We geek out. We love to learn about space and NASA and all those things. But this is written, like I said, by astronaut Scott Kelly. He is the astronaut a couple of years ago that was picked to spend a full year on the International Space Station, or the ISS. He spent, I can't remember, it's either 320 or 340 days in space consecutively. The other amazing thing is he has a twin who, if you can believe it, is also an astronaut. And so they picked him because they were studying the effects of space long-term on his body. And they could compare it to his twin, since his twin has the same DNA, to see how a body in space versus somebody on Earth, and how they would react. And they're doing that so that they can prepare for longer missions to places like Mars, because it can take, 4 to 6 months each way just to fly to Mars. So all that to say, if it sounds a little overwhelming or not interesting, stick with it. Let me tell you why this really resonated with me in quarantine. I was, first of all, fascinated. Oops, there's the cover there. You can see my Kindle wants to keep changing pages. I loved this book. It is his personal story. So he not only talks about his entire year on the space station, but he gives you chapters. He kind of interlaces the chapters and tells you how he grew up, how he got into the space program, how he applied and became an astronaut. I think it's very inspiring. I had always had the idea that astronauts had to be like major overachievers, that were perfect at everything, and that's how they got to be an astronaut, and so did he. And he learned that that wasn't necessarily the case. He did not grow up with a very upper class childhood. He did not grow up privileged. He really worked hard. He came from very simple means, and he made it through. It's just fascinating to listen to his journey. I don't want to speak, you just got to read the book. But there'll be chapters about his life leading up to it, all the way to when he flew on the space shuttle, then to the ISS. And I was so impressed by how he, how do I explain this? I thought he wrote it so beautifully. It's very readable, but I felt like he did an incredible job of explaining really complicated things. Like, I know so much, I feel like, about the space station now, and what astronauts do and what they don't, and what they're trained to do, and the science that they do, the things they don't do, like the misconceptions. I've never seen a book, he broke it down so clearly, so many things about astronauts in space, without it being over my head, without it feeling like, career lingo or whatever, without it feeling like it was too much, but it also wasn't dumbed down. It was just, he had a wonderful way of communicating what life was like on the space station. And in terms of being in a situation we're in, where a lot of us are in quarantine or have to isolate if we have underlying health conditions and things like that, at the beginning of quarantine, he actually wrote an article, I think, for the New York Times. And the whole article was how to deal with being in isolation, just giving people tips. Since he spent a whole year on the space station, obviously without leaving the station, other than doing a spacewalk, and being away from his loved ones for a long time. And so he had a lot of tips to share. And so a lot of the things that he talks about, and the things he went through, the things he felt, clearly different. Clearly, I'm not an astronaut in space on the space station, but such helpful information for us that are going through such this weird, unprecedented time in our lifetimes. So I think you will be riveted. I think you will learn a lot. This was so inspiring and powerful to me. I've recommended it to multiple friends. I think it's an incredible read. It will make you go down, probably a YouTube hamster wheel of NASA and space videos. I know I'm a space geek. I'm totally a space geek now. I'm sure a lot of us all watched the SpaceX launch this spring. That was so inspiring to me. And I had already started this book at that point. And so it was really, really cool to watch the astronauts going up there now with the information in this book. It actually also, I didn't say this in the previous video, but an honorary favor along these lines. If you read something like this and you're like, this is amazing, I love it, I actually found another astronaut memoir. I have just started reading it. So I'm not very far in, and I like it, but I can tell that that other one's probably going to be my favorite. But this is one I actually downloaded probably a year ago, last summer, back when we could travel. Remember those days? My husband and I went to the Space Museum in Houston, the NASA Space Station Museum, and I saw this book in their gift shop. And then there was a sale on Kindle for like $1.99 or $2.99, and I purchased it, and it's called An Astronaut's Guide to Life on Earth: What Going to Space Taught Me About Ingenuity, Determination, and Being Prepared for Anything. And it's by Colonel Chris Hadfield. He is actually Canadian who applied to be a part of NASA and was an astronaut. And I think he was even an astronaut earlier than Scott Kelly. So Scott Kelly's account is a little bit more recent. I think he was up there in 2016. 17-ish. So if you're really interested in those kinds of books, this is good. I'm only about 7-8% in, and so I'm really early in on it, and he's a beautiful writer. It's lovely. But check that one out as well, but I heartily recommend Endurance. I know I spent a really long time talking about that, but y'all, it was so good. Okay, and then my next favorite book, this was probably, if I could pick, this was my favorite thing I've read this year. I will be shocked if this is not my absolute favorite read for the entire year. It's on track to be. This fiction book is so good. If you just want an incredible story where you can disappear into another time period, another place, a book with a really powerful, interesting heroine. The protagonist is called Anna in this book. This is called The Book of Longings by Sue Monk Kidd. If the premise sounds strange, stay with me. It's fabulous. The premise is a fictionalized account. Sue Monk Kidd started wondering one day, what would it have been like, or who would have been the person if Jesus had actually had a wife? And I know that sounds like a crazy imagining, but she's not writing this as a Christian book or a spirituality book. She's really writing this as a story, and I think it's done so tastefully. I think it's done so respectfully. This is really not Jesus's story. This is the wife's story. This is Anna, the woman Anna. That's her story. It's about her life. It starts when she's a teenager and moves up. And it's fascinating because there are a lot of parts of Jesus's life that aren't actually written about in scripture. Like we don't have anything written about the time where he's like, 20, 21, that kind of thing. And so she also is imagining this story in the years that we don't have documented in a book like the Bible. So but again, if you don't read the Bible, if you're not necessarily a spiritual person, I think you would love this book. It's fabulous. It's written so well. She did a lot of archaeological research. So what I loved about it is there was a lot of really interesting historical stuff. It really put me back in that time period, but she also gave the protagonist a real modern voice. So it both like lives in the world it's in, but it also just feels really modern and fresh. From the first page, it completely hooked me. This book is going bananas online. I mean, it's on the New York Times bestseller list. Other people are going on and about it. It's not just me. But I loved this book way more than I thought it would. I didn't want it to end. I purposely read it very slowly because I didn't want it to end. And it was interesting because a couple of the characters in the book actually go through a time of quarantine because there's a plague that descends in Egypt. So that was fascinating. Don't worry, that's not a spoiler. It's not a big part of the plot or anything, but you read it and you went, oh, I get you. I feel you, girl. But it's really, really, really good. Don't take my word for it. It's so good, you guys. Just trust me. You need to read this book. It's one of the best books I've read in the last 5 years. Loved it, loved it. And then some honorary mentions. I loved the book Untamed by Glennon Doyle. It's a nonfiction memoir. I absolutely love her writing, very empowering. Oh, I just dropped an oil. And then this is another honorary favorite. This is called Notes on a Nervous Planet by Matt Haig. He is a British author. This is one where I feel like I can't really tell you a lot about it. You just either need to pick it up and it'll either resonate with you or not. But it's a lot of short chapters to this book, and it's one of these you can kind of dip in and out of. And what's so fascinating is he wrote it, way before the pandemic. I know I follow this author on Instagram. I really love his words. And he said a lot of people have reached out and been like, how did you know this book you wrote a couple years ago was going to speak to us so deeply where we are? But he struggles with anxiety, that I struggle with anxiety, and this has been a real comfort to read. You've got little, see how this is like a page. See, there might be, one page there, and then there's another chapter that's maybe like 2 or 3 pages. You can dip in and out of this. Each chapter is probably no longer than 4 pages maybe, and it really talks about like anxiety and stress and how to deal with social media and just how to take proactive action to not feel so nervous. It's beautiful. You just kind of have to dip into it. I think you'll know right away. Just give it a try. You'll know right away if it's a book for you. I recommend downloading the sample version on Kindle. You can always go to your Kindle and get a free sample of a book. And I found that has been a great way for me to decide if a book is for me, because I downloaded this one and I got just enough so that I got past, I read enough of it to know I'm really gonna like this book. And so then I ended up purchasing it. But I've done that for a lot of books that I thought I was gonna love. And then after I downloaded the preview, I was like, not really. But this one, love it, downloaded the sample and loved it so much that I ordered this one to have on hand. I think it's a perfect book to read in our world right now. So those are all books that I love. Oh, and this is a very random side note, but I've been reading the Bible a lot and I love this Message translation. It's very much like a story. It's actually more of a paraphrase. It's not a technical translation, but it's fantastic. This is a devotional Bible version. I'm just gonna link it because if you like this kind of thing, I've been enjoying reading this one. So tons of books here that I just shared. And then I've got a couple of Young Living products. And because we do not have an edit button, hold please, I'm going to get the oil that I want to share with you guys that fell on the ground. Oh my word. If you're still there, welcome to live YouTube world. Oh my gosh, you guys. That's even worse than my last video. Okay, I do have a couple of oils to share that I didn't bring up a minute ago, but probably my biggest discovery. See, my light in my office is getting a little cray-cray, so I guess it's just the light from the window. Kunzia is a promo this month, and I discovered it this month because I was watching a video, I think by YouTube Rebecca Bristow, and she was talking about how much she loved this oil. And I had it from a promo and opened it, got it free, went, that's nice, and put it down. Didn't even give it a second thought. We got it as promo this month, so I picked up the other bottle I had. It's intoxicating. I cannot get enough of it. I absolutely adore it. It smells very fresh and clean, and it's the kind of oil that I think diffuses really well with lots of other oil combinations. So she had suggested to diffuse Kunzia with lavender. Guys, magic, magic, magic. Other than the Luscious Lemon combo, this is probably my favorite thing. The last couple weeks, I have diffused this nonstop. I have noticed this is very relaxing and soothing, and this almost has the same kind of effect for me as something like Peace and Calming or Gentle Baby. That was another oil that I forgot to bring in here, but that's another favorite of mine these last few months. But it has that very calming and soothing effect when I smell it or diffuse it. And with lavender, it's a powerhouse. I know that she had also diffused it with peppermint, and I did try that combo and I liked it, but for me, I really like it with lavender. I want to try it with eucalyptus. I want to try it with citrus oils. Guys, I have run through this entire bottle. I'm so glad I have another one left over from my promo this month, and I will probably add this to my ER. I cannot believe how much I have grown to love this. It's an Australian plant. It's just this kind of oil that I think diffuses really well. It's really calming and soothing. It has a lot of antioxidant properties to it, is my understanding from my research. But I really love this one. If you haven't tried it yet, or you have it in your promo and you don't know what you're gonna do with it, start diffusing it with other stuff. This has become probably my favorite. I'm gonna add it to my ER. Love it with lavender. So favorite, favorite. And then a couple of products that I have loved. I had to share a new product. We've got the Thieves Chest Rub. This smells just like that rub I grew up with. It smells like Fix Vapor Rub to me. Any of you guys that grew up with that as kids? But of course, much cleaner ingredients. It's made with camphor, menthol, eucalyptus, all clean ingredients. I have also found that if I have worked out a lot and I just want to rest and relax, putting this along the side of my back, maybe like my lower back, as well as rubbing it on my chest, it's been really soothing and comforting. Camphor is actually also in the essential oil bottles, we have Ravara, and that's like camphor is another name for that oil, and I don't know that that's what this is. But if you want the properties of something like camphor, also diffusing Ravensara would do that. But to me, that's a very soothing scent, like a menthol. So even though it's a small container, I was a little like, oh, when I got this, this is tiny, tiny, but a little goes a long way. And so I actually do think this is gonna last a while. And then I'm not a big lotion person, but holy cannoli, guys, this became a favorite for me in the spring. Sandalwood Moisturizing Cream. As y'all know, I know this stuff is not cheap. I budgeted this for my Essential Rewards order a couple of months ago because like the rest of the world, I'm washing my hands I've always washed my hands a lot, always. I've always used Thieves spray, Thieves hand sanitizer, all the things. But clearly, as we all are, I'm washing my hands a lot more. So usually I don't need to use lotion on my hands, or I'll use like the lavender lotion, but I needed something that had a lot more oomph to it, had a lot more power. Enter this guy. I've used it a lot. Let's see if I can get, I've got it really, sorry, the light is bad in here. But if you can see, like, I'm barely down to there. Like, I've used this a lot and I've barely used any of it. People had told me this thing lasts forever. Very moisturizing, very soothing. It has a real clean scent to me. I don't really smell a lot, and probably because to me sandalwood doesn't have a really strong scent. And there's a lot of good stuff in here, but just the tiniest little dab of this, I don't know if you can see that probably there. I mean, it's pretty thick. So I can only use this on like my hands or my elbows or my legs, but that's been a big favorite. I've just kept this out and it's like a little treat. I use it at night. And then two more products. One of the supplements that I have gravitated to like crazy, sorry about the glare guys, is multigreens. I've used this one off and on before, but this has just been one that I just pick up like crazy. And since I've started that crazy quarantine life, this has got all sorts of wonderful blends in it. Like it's got Melissa oil, and it's got lemongrass. Let's see what else. I thought there was one other thing in here, but let's see, that might have been all the oils. It's got great stuff like bee pollen, barley, spirulina, choline, alfalfa, kelp, all sorts of good stuff. Love this one. I've taken this a lot. Or I mean, I'm not a doctor, don't play one on TV, especially not now, but I just love this. So, you know, consult of course with your health providers to decide what the dosage is best for you, follow the instructions on the label, but I have incorporated this into my daily supplement routine and I've really noticed a difference and I love it. And then my last one, guys, is an oldie but a goodie. It's the Lavender Cooling Mist. And I told a story on my other video, and it's probably good that it didn't upload because I don't know if I told it completely right. Like I wanted to make sure I didn't get in trouble and say things I shouldn't say. But the long and the short of it is, this I used to use as a spray primer before Young Living made the misting spray and the primers for makeup. People would use this as a like a primer spray for makeup, and I used to do that. But I have pretty sensitive skin, so I had to stop using that at some point. It's got aloe vera in it, but it's also got lavender, northern lights, black spruce, and helichrysum. So helichrysum, I think, is the ingredient that I'm gravitating to in this. All I will say is I was in the kitchen the other day, grabbed a pan. I had broiled something, so I picked it up with a pot holder, and unfortunately, absentmindedly grabbed the other side without a pot holder. So you can imagine what happened. It was not fun. It was not pleasant. And I just decided that I needed to have some soothing skin support. That's what I'm going to say. So I sprayed this all over, like a very refreshing mist, put it on my hands. Guys, all I can tell you is use this. Google the uses for it. It's unbelievable. I could not believe how supportive it was. I've got to leave it there because I don't want to get in trouble. But it was just a product that helped me in ways that I did not expect. So really, really grateful. This smells really good. It's wonderful. I keep it in the refrigerator. That was a tip I heard, and I think that's a great tip. I feel that when you do that, it really helps. It just feels extra cooling. So I keep this in the refrigerator now, and this is something I'm going to be using all summer. But really, really love it. Has a nice, pleasant, cool scent. I can smell the lavender, but this became a favorite for me after what happened last week. And I will be using it all summer. So, whew, it's still 43 minutes. If you have stuck in this long, thank you, thank you, thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. I'm gonna try and upload this one. Let's cross all fingers and toes that this one gets uploaded right. Please let me know what your favorites are in the comments. Let me know what you're diffusing. And if you've watched till the end of this video, put your favorite essential oil diffuser combo or your favorite essential oil in the comments, and then I'll know. Then I'll know that you watched till the end. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you're a subscriber and if you're new to the channel, I cannot tell you what it means to me that you are supporting my channel, especially during this time. I will be starting to make more videos for you, going on live more often, sharing more favorite things. So I hope you guys are taking care on the other side of that screen. I hope you are well and safe. And we will all get through this together. So thanks so much for watching, and take good care. See you soon.